everyone, witam was serdecznie. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Basics in Polish. So in the first episode, I gave you a brief overview of what the Beyond the Basics channel is all about. Videos 2 and 3 gave you my personal journey into why I started learning Polish in the first place. And I think we can all attest that this language journey is quite challenging. However, just imagine how rewarding it will be once we reach our goals. Now, this video is something that I really had to make. I felt compelled to give this to you early on because, let's face it, you absolutely deserve to know the truth. I do this in my profession, so as a fencing instructor, I start my students off with an understanding of what I teach and how I plan on teaching it. I also brief them on why we teach it this way. This way, there is no confusion, and they can be confident moving forward in understanding that I'm not leading them astray. They also know this not only because it personally makes sense to them, but because the foundation was laid by true masters of the art, just as language learning has. Now, the important thing to understand right in the beginning is this. The industry is out to make things entertaining.
Are you not entertained?
Not necessarily practical. So there's no money in saying, for example, you want to learn Polish? Well, just go out and speak it. But why have so many people spent years learning a language and still can't bring themselves to speak it?
Why?
Does this sound like anybody that we know? Well, I'm not proud of this, but this was me as well, and to a certain extent is still me sometimes. While I am a sociable sort of guy, I'm really not the kind of person to just jump headfirst into most conversations, especially a language that I'm not familiar with. But over the years, I've learned so much, and I completely understand how people like you or I can get caught up in textbooks, YouTube channels, apps, and even the promise that you can learn a language as you sleep.
What?
Once we get that itch to learn a language, it's completely normal to want the easiest, fastest, and in many ways, the most entertaining path to fluency. This is only natural, I think.
Affirmative, Dave.
But the secret to any spoken fluency, the secret that everyone posts in their titles to gain hits and subscribers.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Say no more. Beg your pardon?
Here it is. You will excel the most in that which you spend the most time on. If I'm to use myself as an example, I can read in Polish far better than I can hear and speak the language. That's because, like most of us, we hate to make mistakes. And I can read at my own pace, I can read in privacy, and therefore the stress is non-existent. And we all know that it's easy to kind of geek out in those early days, acquiring textbooks and apps and just plain overloading ourselves. And we spend so much time getting everything right that sometimes we don't even begin to speak. But we also forget about that other phase, which is the most crucial phase. Are you ready for this?
Hold on my calls.
The activation phase. In other words, the use of your accumulated knowledge in the real world. This is where you put your skills to the test, where you are deliberately or non-deliberately forced to recall your words, attach the grammar, right or wrong. In Polish, you'll likely be wrong, especially in the beginning, but you'll be doing something that you've never done in your language journey thus far, and that is deciding to be heroic. So if you're motivated, if you found truth in what I've said so far, let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Now, the second aspect that needs to be addressed is the notion of fun. As Luca Lampriello, a polyglot who is fluent in Polish, mind you, as he has said, difficult and necessary rather than easy and fun. But you're probably like, Michael, the brain learns best when it's having fun. But does it? Does it really? The real reason that this has a hint of truth is because humans naturally gravitate towards things that are pleasurable. However, the brain, although it is not a muscle, It gets stronger through adversity. Through work, just as a muscle does. If the task is too easy, we will likely not see any gains. Therefore, we maximize our ability by challenging the brain, by making it struggle and fatigue, giving it the rest that it needs, and then doing this again and again and again. The thing that you must do, the only thing that we must do, is to find a way to make these struggles fun.
I see the truth of it.
And the most important thing in sticking with the language is having a big enough reason why. And if you haven't seen my latest video, there will be a link to that at the end of this one. But you have to find what ignites your passion for language learning. Next, you have to find and develop the habit of using it and challenging your brain in the language on a daily basis. Now, all of this might seem daunting, but rest easier with these words from Steve Kaufman. The brain wants to learn, but it learns very slowly. Be patient with the process, because continued frustration and impatience will only lead you to the place that so many others have ended up, and that is giving up.
Game over, man. It's game over.
But that's it, though. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So patience and hard work, all made easier by enjoying the process. And this, ironically, is a great formula for learning anything in life, even finding greater pleasure in life itself. And I think you know this also to be true, that you'll never feel fluent or feel totally accomplished, I believe, unless you can listen, understand, and speak the language back to someone. Reading and writing, for the most part, just doesn't cut it with the majority of people, and it doesn't for me. Now, to sum up, here are the keys. Number one, find your reason, your why, and bolster it. Bolster it how? Through finding engaging and enjoyable content, content that you can understand. This is what language enthusiasts call comprehensible input. Practice daily, knowing that the brain wants to learn, but it does so slowly and at its own pace. Challenge yourself by speaking, or like me, make some videos, which, even polished and scripted, will not be without mistakes. And remember, when studying, hear and read over write and memorize. And 5, the most obvious and cliche of them all, I'm terribly sorry, but be patient and don't get frustrated. The struggle is real, but find a way to enjoy the struggle. If you've gotten the language bug, and I suppose you have because that's why you're here, know that you have a lot of friends, colleagues, and teachers out here that will help you through the process. I've done the honor of listing several of my favorites in the description box below. Don't wait. Start now. Zaczynajmy. And I will see you on the next video, but before I do, let me leave you with this.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.